Sometimes honesty isn't the best policy, especially when it's at someone's wedding, to the couple getting married, and even more so when these problems are entirely preventable. Do not be honest. G'day there guys, it's your main man Marky, and welcome back to another episode of r/AmITheA. Now, if you love today's bloody good content, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on that Barbie, and get ready for some bloody good stories. Let's go. Am I the asshole for being honest with my boyfriend's mum when she asked me if I was enjoying her wedding? So I've been with my boyfriend Alex for 2 years. I get along okay with his mum Jane, but sometimes she's a bit of a just-no-mother-in-law. Anyway, she got married recently and they wanted a smaller, more laid-back wedding because she did the traditional wedding the first time. They got married at a vineyard and it was really nice. For dinner, there was a fancy brick oven pizza and salad, and later there was a mac and cheese bar. Dessert was caramel brownie cheesecake or berry cobblers. I hate cobbler. And you probably caught on that there was a lot of cheese. There were also charcuterie boards, so a whole frick ton of cheese. Don't get me wrong, I like non-traditional weddings, and the food was out of this world. But after dessert, I was on the verge of crapping myself. I went to the bathroom feeling like I was going to die, and it wasn't pretty. The groom's 2 daughters, late teens and early 20s, were in there. They are both horrible. They have talked so much crap about Jane and are just mean girls. When I came out, they were snickering and looking at me, and I was mortified. I ended up in there again because holy hell, that woman likes cheese. Later on, I went over to where she was sitting with her new husband, and Jane asked if I was having fun. I said it was beautiful, but admitted I'd been in agony because of her menu, and she really should have had some more balanced options, because a lot of people are dairy sensitive. I then told the groom about what happened with his daughters. He just looked at me weird, and then said that it was his wedding night, and he doesn't want to hear an account of anyone crapping. My boyfriend got annoyed and said that I should have just lied, because you don't complain to the couple at the wedding. But I feel like she should know for future parties, and he should know so he can talk to his daughters. Jane is on her honeymoon, so I don't know if she's mad. She didn't seem it, but a couple of my friends said that I'm the asshole and it isn't Jane's problem. And I personally agree that you are the asshole and this isn't Jane's problem, nor is it her husband's problem. It's really poor form if you think about it. If you're getting married, do you want one of your guests coming up and being like, so I'm lactose intolerant and I just ate a shit ton of dairy. And you might want to vacate the premises because the nuclear bombs of craps that I've dropped twice in that bathroom, that's really gonna make you rethink that menu of yours. God, this is all your fault. Don't you want to hear more about the torrential rain of fecal matter that I've got in your toilets over there? No, OP. Do you have no self-awareness? Do you have no shame? You're the asshole. What's wrong with you? Now in the comments, Car Scapella says, you're the asshole. Jesus, dude. Nobody made you eat all that dairy. And no one cares if you hate cobbler. Yeah, that cobbler comment got me too. It's like she expects their wedding menu to be tailored to her. I'd bet the bride or groom likes cobbler a lot. But either way, they had 2 desserts in case people disliked one option. A lot of weddings just have cake. Wasn't it berry cobbler? My goodness, I got excited just reading it. Imagine eating so much cheese and dairy that you almost crap yourself twice at a wedding, and then you tell the groom and bride, wedding's nice, but man, have I been crabbing? Why didn't you specifically plan for this? Yeah, I mean, like, stop eating. It's not like she's expected not to eat for 10 hours. 2, maybe? After she already ate the cheese which made her feel bad, she should have stopped. And no one, under any circumstances, likes hearing about bowel movements, specifically not at their wedding. OP must be that weird relatives that no one likes talking to, but they still have to include to keep the peace. You're the asshole. A tactless asshole. There was no reason for you to spoil their night. You could have said that it was lovely and kept your opinion on the menu to yourself. If you thought what the girls were saying needed to be addressed, you could have easily sent an email in the following days. Also, if you know you're dairy sensitive, then why did you eat so much cheese in the first place? Opie is definitely one of those people who consider themselves honest and real, but in reality are just rude, tactless assholes. I wonder why she doesn't have that great of a relationship with her mother-in-law, lol. This person is awful. No, I won't give details, just take my word on it. And what the hell, you're the asshole. None of what you said was necessary. Firstly, nobody made you eat any of this. You know what your dietary restrictions are and should be well aware of your dairy limit. You probably should have had more salad and crackers and less pizza. Secondly, to go to the bride or groom and let them know anyone was talking crap was just crass. Pretty sure it's basic wedding etiquette to not bring up unnecessary drama to bride and groom during the wedding. Thirdly, you think she doesn't know what her stepdaughters say about her? And you think he doesn't know? This isn't some grand revelation you made that needed to be shared right at that damn moment. You're being a just no daughter-in-law. Our next post is by user Nurple Wench, titled, "Am I the asshole for screaming at my friend in front of his teacher during his university art exhibition?" So at the start of this year, my friend Toby, male 21, asked if I would be willing to sit for a painting he was doing which would be submitted to an art exhibition at his university. I agreed to this and sat for 2 sessions. He asked me to sit in a simple pose, just slightly slouched in an armchair, and this all went fine. Once the sessions were over, I asked if I could see the painting, and he told me he had more work to do on it, and didn't want anyone else to see it before it was completed. I was disappointed but agreed, and thought nothing more of it. Cue to last month, and I was at dinner with a few of my friends, including Toby and another girl who goes to uni with him, Becca. It came up in conversation that the art exhibition was going ahead, and Toby had 2 pieces being shown. I was excited, and hoped that the painting he did of me would be there, as I wanted to see it. I asked about attending, and Toby immediately jumped in, and said that it was for university students only, and that he would show me the painting once the exhibition was over. Once the dinner was over, Becca stopped behind to talk to me, and said that she was confused as to why Toby told me that it was for university students, when it was open to everyone. I was really confused myself and decided to go along without informing Toby that I was going to be there. The exhibition comes around and I attended. I walked around and found Toby's work, including the painting of me. However, it wasn't what I expected. In the painting, I was completely naked. It was very clearly my face on a naked body. I felt violated. Even though I knew that it wasn't my naked body and just a drawing he did, I felt sick. He never informed me that it would be a nude painting. I would not have agreed to my face being put on a naked body. I saw red, and I stormed around the exhibition until I saw Toby, and I immediately started shouting at him about how violating the painting was, and how I was so upset he did this without informing me. Unfortunately, his teacher was nearby and heard everything. I stormed out in tears. He has since texted me several times telling me I'm a selfish bitch for making him look bad in front of his teacher, and I've had messages from several of our mutual friends telling me that I overreacted and it's just a painting. So am I the asshole for making him look bad in front of his teachers by screaming at him during his art exhibition? Edits, I just spoke to a mutual friend of ours, not one of the people that has texted me defending him, and he spoke to Toby and asked about the painting, and Toby admitted that it was how he imagines I look naked, but he didn't see an issue with it because it's not like it's really my body. Now I feel even more violated. I will be contacting the university tomorrow morning. This is a horrendous situation, and Toby should feel bad. Even the fact that he said it's how he imagined that you would look naked, that throws him even further into the deep end here. He is such a terrible person for doing this. He intentionally tried to keep you out of the exhibit so you didn't get mad at him on the spot, and he wouldn't lose his reputation in front of his peers and his teacher. I imagine he's going to get a really harsh punishment for this one from his teacher and from the university itself. That seems like a huge no-no, not the asshole OP. Now in the comments, BowlerBoy2 says, "Not the asshole. What the hell? Toby painted a pornographic image of you and presented it in front of crowds of people, all without your consent. I would do the same thing you did if someone created a sexual and/or pornographic image of me. However, I do think this should have tipped you off. Quote, I asked about attending, and Toby immediately jumped in and said that it was for university students only, and that he would show me the painting once the exhibition was over. He didn't want to show you the painting until the conclusion of the exhibition because he didn't want to go through the whole process of asking you for consent to draw a nude picture of you. He lied to you in order to portray you in a disgusting fashion. In summary, you were right to scream at him. I would consider taking this up with his school. This is a serious violation of trust, and you would be well within your rights to make him see appropriate consequences for his actions. Correct. OP, you need to get in touch with whoever Toby's teacher is, or an admin of Toby's university, and present the issue to them. You can get him suspended or expelled because of this. And I don't think this would be overreacting either. He knew full well exactly what he was doing, and you wouldn't agree to it. Then he did it anyway, in public, at a school-sponsored exhibit, uninviting you on purpose so that you wouldn't know that he was displaying a nude picture of you to the entire world. Not the arsehole. I hope Toby's professor figured out what you were so angry about and had a nice little chat with him about his behavior and ethics. Mean Girl replies, I'm a professor, not of art, and I would treat this like plagiarizing a research paper. 0 on the assignment, and I would report him to the student council. It's artistic dishonesty, not the arsehole. OP should email the professor directly if they want to. I would want to know this. Not to mention, it might be considered illegal depending on where they are. He didn't have consent to publicly display a nude image of OP, and that could qualify it as a form of revenge porn. It really depends on the wording of the laws. In most states, this would definitely qualify as revenge porn. Even if it wasn't the intention, knowingly distributing a naked image of someone without their consent is illegal and can have major consequences. Our next post is by user Pacing Pilot, titled, Am I the arsehole for pointing out to my cousin how stupid her new dog's name is? This sounds silly as hell, but she's just bit my head off. I didn't think I was being an arsehole, but she sure seems to. So I have a cousin, 45 female, who's a little flaky and has always had an affinity for overcomplicated spellings of normal names. If you know the type, you know what I'm talking about. Giving their kids names like Stefani, Michaela, Kaylee, stuff like that. Whatever, each to their own, and it doesn't affect me. I've never said boo about what she named her kids, and have always done my best to spell them correctly on birthday cards. A couple hours ago, she hit me up on Messenger to show me pics of her new dog. Great, right? The dog is cute, and I tell her as much. Then she drops the name on me. Pronounced Cody/Cody. Oh, but of course it isn't spelt that way. She had to put her twist on it to make it special. She is spelling it Chode. Yup, I might be 42 now, but I was once a potty-brained teenager, and I know what a chode is. After I got my laughter under control, I messaged her back and told her to look up chode on Urban Dictionary. While waiting for her reply, I checked her Facebook page, and sure enough, she'd already posted the dog's pics with her chosen name. It had a healthy amount of laugh reacts, but nobody had commented yet. I sent her screenshots of some of the funnier Urban Dictionary definitions. She flipped out and sent me a few nasty messages about how immature I am. I guess I could have been more mature about it, but come on. She named her dog Chode. I didn't think it was that serious. She's only had the dog 2 days now, so it's not like he knows his name, and she is usually the type to laugh at a dirty joke, but not this time, I guess. So do I owe her an apology, or should I just laugh it off and wait for her to cool down? Now in the comments, Non-Con on the Fence says, I mean, she's going to be taking her dog out to places like the vets and having it called up. Not the arsehole. You've just made her aware. What she does with that info is up to her. Not the arsehole. The dog can't read. She can literally just change the spelling. Lamau, right? Just pretend it was an autocorrect or something. Then she would have to explain why her phone predicted chode. Not the arsehole. My grandma likes to tell the story of how when my father and his siblings were growing up, they named the dogs Doobie/Doobie. And she didn't know that that was a slang for joint until one of her neighbors pointed it out after hearing her calling for the dog. She would have loved for someone to point this out to her sooner. Granny shouting down the block for her doobie, asking the neighbours if they'd seen doobs around. I love all these images. Not the asshole. And I can't think of a situation where chode would be reasonably pronounced Cody. There are situations where CH makes a K sound, i.e. character, but regardless it still says chode. Not the asshole. You are not the only one who will think that way, and you're actually saving her some future embarrassment. She'll be taking the dog to the vet at the least, and maybe other places like groomers and doggy daycares. The employees will surely take one look at the name on the paperwork and start laughing. Eventually, someone will call to tell her that chode is ready to be picked up, but they won't be pronouncing it the way she intended. Even worse, imagine if someone mispronounces the name in a crowded lobby. She might be mad now, but she should get over it eventually. And our next post is by user Properly Roasted XOXO, titled, "Am I the asshole for not inviting my friends to my wedding after she disinvited me from her ceremony even though I made the cake?" So my 31 female friend, 33 female, got married in the fall of 2019 at her family home in a small ceremony because her now husband had to leave the country for a year for work. I ended up making her cake for it, and no, I wasn't invited because they wanted it to be small. She instead said she'd invite me to the actual ceremony, which took place last weekend. She asked me if I could do the wedding cake for that too, and I agreed as I'm a professional decorator as a side job. And yes, she paid me. This conversation happened in August 2019, and I got the official invite to her wedding January 2021. Between that August conversation and now, I met my now fiancé, 35 male, and we got engaged back in December of 2020. I messaged my friend in January and said that I was unable to do the cake as I'd moved 30 minutes away to live with him, and I had a small car at the time, so I couldn't deliver anymore and she didn't want to pick it up. A couple months later, I received a letter disinviting me from the ceremony, citing health restrictions. These were lifted for weddings before this letter was sent out. I was a bit miffed because I feel like I was only invited because I offered to do the cake and no longer could, but said nothing until this morning. FYI, I did not receive any money for this cake at all. She posted some wedding photos online, and I liked one. She then called me seconds later and asked when to expect the invite to my wedding, to which I told her she wasn't invited, explaining the issue with the cake and me being disinvited from her wedding. She said I was taking it personally when it was about inviting close and essential people, only while also being safe. I asked her would I still have been invited if I had done the cake, and she said that's not relevant and called me vindictive. I told her it was relevant, and that I was disinvited because I no longer served a purpose to her. She got mad and said that I was being petty, but I don't think I am. My fiancé and family agrees with me, but some friends say that I sound bitter. So am I the asshole for not inviting her to my wedding? And edit, her wedding had 150 people. Edit 2, I got the invite in January, not February. Not much to say about this one. I feel like it's very obvious that she's in the wrong in this situation, that you were just a means to an ends for a wedding cake, you couldn't do it anymore and she didn't want to drive 30 minutes, so screw her. If she doesn't want that, go find someone else for it. But to have the entitled attitude that she somehow deserved an invite to your wedding after doing that to you is just ludicrous to me. Not the asshole, OP. Now in the comments, not the asshole. If you aren't close and essential enough to attend either of her ceremonies, why would she expect to be so for your wedding? Yeah, if OP was so unimportant as not to make the cut out of 150 frickin' guests, then it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out who the vindictive one is. OP also didn't do something as tacky as her friend uninviting her. That was a low blow, especially citing health reasons when you have a guest list of 150 people, had already had the person bake one cake for a ceremony they weren't invited to, and then suddenly have concerns after they couldn't bake another cake for you. Either she was straight up using OP for her mad baking skills in the first place, or was that vindictive simply because OP could no longer do this huge favor. Either way, OP is not the asshole for not wanting the woman at her wedding. Not the asshole. She wanted her cake, and when you didn't make it, she had no use for you anymore and threw you out. She can call you vindictive or petty all she wants. She's the one that disinvited you because you didn't make her a cake. She's not a friend. Agreed. She raised you one disinvite. You called her Bet, not the arsehole. I'm appalled and second-hand embarrassed for her that she was so tacky as to disinvite a wedding guest. And not the arsehole. If you aren't close and essential enough to attend either of her ceremonies, why would she expect to be so for your wedding? Sounds like this woman thinks she's the center of everyone's universe, and that even if she disrespected them, they will still want her to come to their events. Alright guys, that's the end of the video. Friendly reminder that I'm now posting daily on my second channel, AmITheA. If you want to laugh at memes with me, link is down in the description below. On phone, you just click that little arrow underneath the video. I also want to say thank you to all my channel members and Patreon subscribers. Your names are currently floating down the screen here, and I love to see all of you guys. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Thank you for supporting me. I really appreciate it. If you see yourself on screen, I want you to give yourself a big pat on the back for being amazing as always, and thank you for supporting me again. I do hope that you guys have a good day, night, sleep, whatever it is you're up to. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.